Hey everyone, this is Kevin with Divinely Design, and we have a card making video. I wanted to make a sort of masculine holiday card. So this is what I came up with. And this is actually the second version of it. I did this one first. And I have this new product I wanted to try out called Ferro, which is like, it's almost like an embossing paste, except it's got like little bits of metal in it, and when it's all finished, it feels really rough. So the first version I did this dot pattern with the Ferro, so it might be hard to see, but and I did these sort of snowflakes in a metallic copper. I ended up not liking it as much, and because of the Ferro, I couldn't really stamp the way I wanted to stamp, with sort of having the dots kind of all around it. So I did a different version of it, and I like this one a lot better. So it's sort of, very almost monochromatic with just a little splash of color down here. But I really like kind of the composition. So for this card, what we'll be using is Stampin' Up's Ornamental Pine stamp set, which I have to be honest, I got totally for this pine stamp. I just think it's super cool. I love it. I've seen a bunch of videos where people have used it, and for some reason I don't know, it's a great stamp. It looks really cool. I'll be using Stampin' Up's Baked Brown Sugar for the ink to go with that, and then some other Stampin' Up stuff. This is from their Retro Fresh collection, and I just love the color combination in this. So we're using some washi tape. This is a stencil from Recollections, just a little dot pattern. A palette knife for the Ferro. We'll be using that. Some foam tape. I have some brads. These are little brads that have stars in them, and I used them for the banner portion. I put 3 little stars there. So these are from Recollections. And then a die cut set from Paper Smooches called Snowflakes. Okay, so the first thing I need is this is a pre-made, craft card stock card, and this is actually a larger card. This is a 5x7 card. So I get these. I occasionally will try and pick these up, when they're on sale at Michael's or Joann's or whatever. So I have a packet of these, and the first thing I'm going to start with is stamping the stamp here in Baked Brown Sugar. Okay, and I kind of stamp it so it goes off the edge of the card just a little bit. Okay. And we'll be using the Baked Brown Sugar a little bit later too. Now what I did was I took just some paper and I cut out a mask, and it's just sort of the general outline of the stamp itself. It's not, it doesn't have to be perfect. I just don't want the dots getting in the stamp itself. And then I'm going to take, this is a blending tool. This is actually, I think, the Ranger round blending tool you normally see with Distress inks. and I'm just dabbing it in the baked brown sugar and then going over. Now this is kind of a small stencil, as you can see, so you have to be careful about not going over the edge and getting onto the craft card stack, because that would kind of ruin the effect. And this doesn't have to be real dark. It can be pretty light. I just line up the stencil with a portion I've already done. Okay, so that's good. So we just stenciled. Like I said, you doesn't have to be real dark, I don't think. You can see I got this section just a little bit darker, but I don't mind the variation so much. And I probably could have done pretty light stamping, actually. Okay, next what I did was I cut out a little banner, and this stamp set comes with a sentiment called Christmas Wishes. So I had taken the same kind of paper from actually another card I just sort of messed up, and cut out a small banner from it, stamped it on it, and cut a little fishtail out. I then took the poking tool, and this is a piece of fun foam, and just poked in 3 holes. And I'm going to take these little star brads, and then I'm going to take some foam tape and kind of cut it to size here. And just put this on the back for right now. Okay. And for the banner, you can see I took the blending tool and went around the edge of my banner here as well. And I'm going to do the same thing with the card. I'm actually going to go around the edge of the whole card. I'm going to use the same set for this, but may the peace and beauty of the season remain with you throughout the coming year. I'm going to take that, and while I'm here, I'm just going to stamp that on the inside. Okay. Alright, and then I can put away my ink here. Now, for the next part, I'm using this Ferro stuff, and like I said before, what I originally did was take a stencil and layer it on here, but I just wasn't super happy with it. So instead, I did the Ferro on top of the die shapes themselves. So I already have them done, but let me show you how I did it. So I took my die cuts and I cut out from the same cardstock, the same brown cardstock, the die cuts themselves. Now, this stuff dries pretty quickly, actually, much quicker than I thought it would, but it's a paste, just like embossing paste, and so you don't need a whole lot, but once, so I just sort of squished it down, and then once you have some down here, that'll sort of hold it in place. And then just squish it around all the edges of the die cut. And what I found was you do want to make sure you get the edges sort of along around the outside of it, because if not, you can see sort of an unfinished edge. Now this dries pretty quickly, so you want to close it up and then clean off all of your, if you're using a stencil or palette knife, just clean it off right away because you don't want this stuff drying on it. But it kind of, it cleans off relatively easy when you're there. And then all I did was take the pokey tool and sort of slide it underneath and pick up the die cut and just left it to the side to dry, just like that. Okay, so I actually already have them all done. So all I'm going to do is take some Tombow and take my tweezers. Now the stuff on here is pretty thick, and so I'm using liquid glue. I want to make sure it stays down nice and firm, but I'm just going to glue up kind of all around this die cut and then put it where I want it and hold it in place for a few seconds while the Tombow does its work. So now we're just going to do some washi tape. And I'm just varying the start points, trying to make sure I keep a nice even line though, a nice horizontal even line, but varying the start points kind of over here just for some visual interest. Doing kind of an odd number also. Same with up here, sort of doing an odd number of 5. And again, kind of working on the triangle principle. We have these things that sort of form a triangle over here, a point of interest. And then these two kind of with this stamp also form sort of a triangle. And then sort of all three together, if we think about them, form kind of a triangle this way too. So once those are all down, I'm going to take my scissors and just cut a nice straight edge. So this is really just going to be a 1-layer card, but then I have a nice clean edge on my card here. So that stays nice and clean. And then the last thing to do is to put my little banner on here. And again, I'm going to line it up with the edge and overlap that top washi tape just a sliver . And there we have it. So, kind of a masculine card for the holidays, and I really like it. I really love the colors of this Retro Fresh. Well, there's a whole series of things, I guess, it's Stampin' Up. This is just the washi tape, but they have paper and stuff like that. I only got the washi tape just because I thought it looked cool, but the colors are really cool in here. So, okay, that's it. So, a masculine card. Oh, you can see this die cut on this one I put off the edge of the card, which is fine also. I don't mind that at all. And again, I just sort of cut it to make a nice even edge to it, just to add a little bit of visual interest. But I like this version too as well. So, okay, that's it. Pretty quick video. If you like it, click that thumbs up button. If you are interested in paper crafting, card making, soap making, or bath and beauty kinds of recipes, and you're not subscribed to my channel, click that subscribe button. And comments, questions, leave them below. Love to get them, and I will certainly try to answer them if I can. Thanks very much. I hope you all had a very happy Thanksgiving, and I'll talk with you all soon.